Hello, everyone, and welcome to the very first and inaugural episode of the Tartan Teapots and Books Croft show. My name's Nicola, and today we're going to be doing a little review for you. And I've got the book covered up with the Highland Cow blanket, and I'm going to reveal it to you now. Today we're going to be discussing a book called Redemption, and that's by the wonderful Jack Jordan. Jack has written quite a few books, and I'm just going to get the little list that he's written apart from Redemption. So Jack has also written Anything for Her, My Girl, A Woman Scorned, Before Her Eyes, Night by Night, Do No Harm, and Conviction. But Redemption is his latest release, and it was only released this month. And my husband managed to get me the copy that was released in Sainsbury's. I believe it was exclusive to Sainsbury's with the sprayed edges. And Jack is, as you can see from his little author blurb, he is quite the decorated author, as you can see. He's been on an Instant Sunday Times bestseller list, Waterstone's Thriller of the Month, and he's been shortlisted for Most Recommended Book in the Dead Good Reader Awards and Thriller of the Year at Capital Crime, and his novel Conviction has been longlisted for the Theakston Old Peculiar Crime Novel of the Year 2024. And that's set to be a TV series, so let's all keep our eyes on our tellies for when that does release. And also, Jack's social media is here. I'm sure he'll keep us updated on what's going on with the TV show as soon as it lands on our TV. But today, we're looking at Redemption. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to read out the blurb. I don't want to give spoilers, just in case, but how far will hatred drive her before there's no turning back? Aaron Alexander has just been released from jail after serving 11 years for causing the death of Joshua Moore in a hit and run. Now a free man, all he wants to do is stay on the straight and narrow and leave his troubled past behind him. But for Joshua's mother, Evelyn, 11 years in jail isn't nearly enough. Consumed by grief and rage, she has been waiting for Aaron's release, counting down the days until she can exact the revenge he deserves. And now that time has finally come. However, as Evelyn and her husband Tobias embark on a road trip to track Aaron down, they find themselves caught on two different sides of a gripping game of cat and mouse. Because Tobias knows what Evelyn is planning, and he'll do anything to save her from herself, even if it means protecting the man who killed their son. Locked in a collision course set in motion 11 years ago, Aaron, Evelyn and Tobias are about to discover whether the road they have chosen leads to retribution or redemption. Now, it says $16.99 on the dust jacket, but my husband said he only paid £8.50 for this in Sainsbury's, so that's quite a steal for a hardback. But let's get into the review. So, Jack has taken one of those catch-22 situations and brought it to life in literature. One of those situations whereby, what would you do if you had a child who was a victim of a hit and run and died, and their person who killed them basically was sentenced to 20 years and only served 11 of those years? What would you do? So, what I'm going to do is I'm going to look at the book first. I love how this book's structured. It's set up into 5 separate sections, and each section is the 5 stages of grief. Okay, so I'm sorry I don't have any tabs, but the first section is denial. And also, just as a side note, each section comes with one of these little flashbacks as well, which I think's amazing, because it keeps you in the loop with what's going on in the story. And the next section is section 2, and that one is anger. And after anger, this is quite a long section. Let me see if we can get it. Let's have a look. While I'm doing that, there's 3 points of view within the book from Evelyn, Tobias, and Aaron himself. So let's see if I can find section 3. I really should tab things. I'm going to start doing that. So 3 is bargaining. Section 4 is depression, which is relatively short section. And I'll show you. So yeah, section 4 is depression. And then the last section is acceptance. And I like that it's been set up within the 5 stages of grief. Again, there's 3 points of view: Aaron, Evelyn, and Tobias. I'm usually not a big fan of more than 2 points of view in a book, but it works really well in this one because you get an insight into Aaron's mind, Evelyn's mind, and Tobias's, and I like that a lot. So yeah, that's been done really, really well. We'll look at the characters. So we'll start with Evelyn. Evelyn, she is a grieving mother. Her 9-year-old son, Joshua, was killed in a hit and run, which Aaron was behind the wheel of the car. She hasn't really dealt with her grief, from what I can tell. From the start, I could tell that she's not really processed it, and it's just eating away at her. It's given her all sorts of anger and hatred, and she's even stopped being an attentive wife to her husband. Like, she's just freezing him out, which is pretty sad because they're going through this together. But Evelyn thinks the only way to make things better and for her pain to go away is to kill Aaron. But again, catch-22, will it help? An eye for an eye? Probably not, because if Evelyn does kill Aaron, or if she does commit any other crimes in this book, because she does leave a trail of destruction behind her, then she will end up in prison. It's quite sad. Evelyn's story is quite sad because you can feel her pain and how much it's hurting her, losing her son 11 years previous. And you kind of understand where she's coming from, but at the same time, would you do it? Would you pull the trigger and shoot that person? I don't know if I could. I probably would want to, but when it came to the crunch, could I actually pull the trigger at the end of the day? Next, we'll look at Tobias. That's Evelyn's husband and Joshua's father. He has seemed to process his grief as much as he can, I think. He's still hurting from losing his son, and still a huge hole and pain in his life. But unlike Evelyn, he doesn't think killing Aaron is the answer. He's shocked at how much prep work Evelyn has went into to sort of unleash her plan. She's had private investigators hired to look into Aaron's life, get information on his family, and then they'll tell her where he works when he is released. He goes back to his town of Beatty in Nevada, once he is released. Yeah, Tobias does everything he can, or everything he thinks he's doing, he possibly can, to get Evelyn to see his way of things and ultimately save her from herself and not lose the woman that he loves. Aaron, I actually really liked Aaron in this book, even though he did what he did, but it does all unfold how it happened, why he didn't stop. But he's a boy with, well, a boy, he's a man who, he's so kind and he's so nice, and you can feel the genuine remorse for his actions in the character, and what he's saying and things. And at first he doesn't really take Tobias's help, but then eventually he will take Tobias's help, and the two of them try to evade Evelyn for as long as they can. No, Aaron's he is a kind soul. He didn't have a really good start in life, with his mother being on pills and his stepdad being handy with his fists. And also he was kicked out of the family trailer for being gay, which was ultimately led him down the road of becoming a meth addict. And that resulted in a lot of poor choices, including what happened on the night when Joshua died. But this book, I absolutely loved it. It's been one of my favourite reads so far of 2024, and I'm so glad I discovered this book on Bookstagram. Jack has written this book so well and so sensitively around all the situations for the three characters. He doesn't make you hate Evelyn, just feel sympathy for her, not necessarily empathy, but more sympathy. Aaron, you can feel I can feel empathy for him and sympathy, and same for Tobias. But I struggle with a bit of empathy with Evelyn. The book and the story itself, it's just, I don't really know what to say other than please read it. It's a great novel, and I think it's going to do Jack really, really well. I think it'll be another bestseller. But yeah, it's been an absolutely amazing read. I recommend it. I give this a massive 5 stars, and I hope you read it. If you do like the sort of suspense genre, it's definitely for you. But I must say, like all sort of suspense and thrillers, it's not always going to be suitable for everyone. So please do check trigger warnings, in case any of them do cause any issues for yourself. Now, I had no trigger warnings from this book, but I can understand that there are some things in it that may for others. But please be mindful of that if you do go ahead and read it. But thank you for listening, and I'll see you all very, very soon. Please don't forget to like the video if you've enjoyed my review, subscribe to the channel, and leave a comment. But thank you very, very much for watching, and I hope you all enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you.